Let us start.
Good evening, Shubha Sayanthram to all the members who have gathered here for this wonderful session on Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. First, I welcome Dr. T.P. Shashi Kumar ji, who has agreed to really come and give a lecture on Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. And basically, this meeting has been organized on behalf of an online yoga and pranayama group. Today's program, it's an introduction to Bhagavad Gita, so that whoever want to continue will continue in the Bhagavad Gita classes, forthcoming classes. That's the main intention and purpose of this meeting. First, we will start with a prayer. Sahanam Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I will just give an introduction about Dr. TPS. I think most of them who have come early are from Kerala. They all know about him. Only for the people from the yoga group, Dr. TPS is an eminent scholar. His education is his passion, but he has been into many sectors all over the country. He has worked for so many years as an academician, as a scientist, and almost he has touched all spheres of life, Ayurveda, all the traditional systems, ancient systems, and also the modern systems. A very down-to-earth person. It's our opportunity, it's a God-sent opportunity that we have him amidst us to teach Bhagavad Gita. He agreed, we thank him profoundly for agreeing to come and make this possible. Because there are many people who are interested to learn Bhagavad Gita. The way he recites and teaches the Slokas, we all have been participants to his classes. And also, there are many such thousands, I can say lakhs of people who have got trained under him. Nearly 1 million teachers are there and students are there who are even getting counseling even to this day about their future strategies, maybe academic, or it can be any field for that matter. He does a lot of counseling, he does a lot of development activities, projects, what's not. He is involved into many activities which benefit the society. He has really taken he has taken a very brave decision, or it is a commitment also as a patriot, to serve the nation. Serve the nation, but sir says that let us not think of a nation, the others should feel it. So coming to his way of working for ground to down to earth level, I really feel it's a pleasure to all of us to have him here, Amit sir. We all are very eager to listen from you, sir. I again welcome you and thank you heartfully on behalf of all of the august audience who have gathered here. I welcome each and everybody who have come, taking our invitation into consideration. I thank and welcome one and all who are there in this meeting. I request Dr. TPS to deliver the lecture. Thank you, sir.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Nananjana Shalagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmatajarya Paryandam Vande Guru Parambara. Apart from saluting my Guru Brahmashri KPC Anujan Bhattadripad, Mahamandaleshwar Swami Vedabharati, Keshavacharya, I wish to keep my students in mind who discussed, debated, argued with me, that made me whom I am, for reflecting on some of the subjects like Bhagavad Gita. More so, probably I have to salute Anu, who made me to have a group of people from USA where I could complete teaching Bhagavad Gita as a whole text, sloka by sloka, with my own interpretation, wherein my people who are listening to me were stalwarts who listened from Chinmaya Swami directly. The online yoga and pranayama abhiyan, I don't know, is it Tirupati based, Lalidaji?
I actually know the teacher is, the master is yoga master in Kolhapur.
Okay.
And he does it every morning from Kolhapur. But basically he is an Andhraite from Kurnool.
Okay. So we
And
have...
all the participants are there from all over the country. And most of them are from Andhra Pradesh. But there are people from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, that's Bangalore, Bidar, Gadag, Bagalkot and other parts of Karnataka, and also Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra also. Some are from US also. There are nearly 250 people there. Yeah.
So this program is being organized under this initiative of Lalita Krishna ji from Tirupati, who was introduced to me by the Veda Samskrita Samiti Prabhagar ji. I am so happy that Vinay Kumar took some initiative, made the group and then put me inside that. Bhagavad Gita needs...
Yeah, he has done it.
Yeah, Vinay has done it. Yeah.
But this group we have created, Vinay is other group. They are not in the yoga group.
Fine.
That's the difference.
Right. So I don't think Bhagavad Gita needs introduction to anyone. But many people keep asking why I keep teaching Bhagavad Gita in small groups, and the same invitation goes again, Bhagavad Gita introduction. So many people would have heard my own introduction on Bhagavad Gita, which are also available on YouTube. But then each time when we look at it, the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is each time when I look at it, it opens up a different style, or maybe when I think about it, day by day it starts. Only I can introduce, I can start the classes. I can never end the class of Bhagavad Gita, because it's always difficult to find an end for something which is infinite. 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita, in which the starting is by Dhritarashtra, because I was asked to give introduction, that's how I should give. Sanjay has got 41 slokas, Arjuna has got nearly 80 odd slokas. Krishna had approximately 570 slokas. That puts it together 700 or 701 sloka. There are few texts which have got one sloka differences. I have got a small book called Life Made Simple, which I wrote maybe 15 years back, in which the whole Bhagavad Gita is finished in half page. That's all Bhagavad Gita is actually. It's not a big text, very difficult to learn. Or even if you learn the whole life, it may not be over. So it has got the simplified version. It also has the full version. Like Ramayana is the biggest text. But we also have Ekasloka Ramayana. We can finish in one sloka. Similarly, we have got Mahabharata in one sloka. So similarly, if somebody asks, how can you briefly finish Bhagavad Gita? Maybe 2 slokas or 4 slokas, depends on how much time you have. But we cannot avoid the context in which Bhagavad Gita started. Therefore, the context is explained in the chapter 1. The reason for Bhagavad Gita is the Arjuna Vishadam. Arjuna was sad, so he needed to be pulled up for using his knowledge for the skill which he is supposed to be in action. That is why Bhagavad Gita is called the science of karma, action. Many people know what to do, but they don't have the courage to do actions. Let that be in business, let that be in initiating some activity which they wanted, let that be even studying something. Yeah, I want to study. There is a need or maybe urge for learning, a zeal for learning, a quest for doing it, but doesn't happen. Basically, people are lazy, or we find reasons for not doing it than doing it. So Bhagavad Gita is a text for making people into action. That's why it is called a dictionary, an encyclopedia, probably a text, probably a capsule for somebody to start the action. So the first chapter, first sloka represents most of the people are like DrTPS, who is totally blind. Most of us are blind because we want somebody to drive our car. As you become richer and richer, as you become powerful, as you become famous, you depend on somebody else. You cannot initiate your own action. So DrTPS is an example of somebody who is blind, who cannot do anything without somebody. So here, it's true. That is what happened to the Kuru Vamsha as a whole. With him, the blind love towards his children made the dynasty to end its power. Therefore, the Gita starts with that blind person, like all of us, who are supposed to take a great heritage, great tradition forward. Most of the time we fail to do that. And that we ask our own driver who are paid by us. That means we depend on our own servants, probably who are under us. Actually, we should depend somebody who is at higher. But instead here, we depend somebody who is below us. That's what DrTPS shows. So he is asking his own younger brother Sanjaya, who happens to be at a lower level. All of us are brothers and sisters. So he asks, that's what Bhagavad Gita's first sloka. It is not starting of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the song by Bhagavan. But to make the platform ready, Vyasa added, or maybe somebody else added, few more slokas around the Bhagavad Gita. And that is what today, what is called the Bhagavad Gita, as popularly we all carry with us. So, Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutsavaha, Mamaka, Pandavaschaiva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. Hey Sanjaya, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. What is happening there? Please tell me what is happening there. Because he is blind and Sanjaya got a Google Net connection where he can see what's happening on the other part of the world. Dharmakshetri, and DrTPS knows it is Dharmakshetra. That means Dharma prevails there. And it is Kurukshetra. It is Kuru, people who started the war. Therefore, it's also called Kurukshetra. And that is close to New Delhi today. Samaveda Yutsamaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. Mamaka, my people. That means Pandavas are not his people. So he divided cousins and his brothers' children apart from being with his children. He kept them away. My children and Pandavas. Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. What's happening there? You please explain. Samaveda Yutsavaha. They are all ready for fighting war. So what's happening there is fighting. In fact, Bhagavad Gita comes in the middle of Mahabharata, after the 10th day when Bhishma has fallen. So actually Bhagavad Gita is not a live telecast. It's like giving a story which happened the first day after 10 days. So the question DrTPS asks to Sanjaya is the starting of Bhagavad Gita, and the answer is given in the 18th chapter. So first is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the sad Arjuna. What is the end of Bhagavad Gita? Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. That means the happy man. Arjuna became happy. So what is Bhagavad Gita? Where there is a confusion. A blind person don't know what's happening. And he knows that people are ready to fight war. They are all in happiness, eagerness, but there is a stuck. Something is not happening. That is the time when it started. And then the end, Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 78th sloka. It would be better if somebody want to learn, at least to write down the sloka number or refer back to my video. One sloka starting as a question and one sloka as an answer is Bhagavad Gita. It's very simple. Starting 1-1, end of Bhagavad Gita is 18th chapter, 78th sloka. So that's the last sloka where Sanjaya gives an answer to whom? Dhritarashtra. So it's like one question asked, one answer given. Question is in the beginning, answer is in the end. And what is in the middle? How could Sanjaya give such an answer? What made Sanjaya to give this answer? What made this happen, which was not actually Dhritarashtra's wish, but against his wish something happened which Sanjaya explains, and that is where in the 10th day Bhishma has fallen. What made Bhishma to fall? What made most of the Maharathas who all fought war in the war between the Pandavas and Kauravas, my people and Pandavas as far as Dhritarashtra is concerned, in the Kurukshetra war? Kshetre Kshetre Dharmam Kuru. That Kshetra in which Dharmam is installed by whom? Not the lower driver, but the higher driver, the highest driver, Krishna, who was driving for a person who was sad. And that person got into Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. That's the ultimate. All of us are striving to that self-actualization, that realization, wherein we become permanently in bliss. And that is what is explained. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. Where the spiritual power is existing. Yoga Krishna, yoga means the spiritual power. Yoga Ishwaran, that means the highest spiritual bliss, the samadhi state, without any tension, no buddhi, no manas, no bondage with the action which you are doing, total surrender. I blissfully do it. And that ability to do anything in the full bliss is called a samadhi state. Not the meditation which is translated into English and being practiced for the Westerners which are being sold during this yoga day. It is very famous. Not that. The actual blissful state in which what is to be done? Yatra partho dhanurdharaha. Whatever action you are supposed to do and you are totally involved in that. It is not closing eyes and then sitting in a place, but getting into action with full involvement, with full devotion. Wherever this is possible, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bodhir Dhruva Nitir Madir Mamaha. That place, Vijayam will be there, success will be there, Sri will be there. Sri is the extreme end of bliss, with full joyous, joyous and jubilant, whatever state you want to call it. And that state will be there. Dhruva Nitir Madir Mamaha. That is what is happening. So Bhagavad Gita is over. So one sloka, one question, one sloka, one answer. And between this, if you can explain this, good enough, but not enough. What happened to him is what is explained in the first chapter. And that chapter says Arjuna was in full sad. So what and how Krishna changed this sad Arjuna into the most vibrant, and that is where Arjuna showed his real power. Though there are instances in which as a student, after that many instances Arjuna has shown his power of fighting. Probably Mahabharata war is what made Arjuna real Arjuna is. So what happened to Arjuna in the first chapter, if you look at it, he is a man who wanted to run away from the war field. He says, take me to the center of the array of soldiers standing. It is approximately 60 kilometers in Kurukshetra, 30 kilometers in the mid. And all around it could be 60 kilometers. Wherever he runs, he will be caught. Because nobody can run away from a war field. If you run away, either your own people will kill you, and the other side, the other fellow will kill you. So no way to escape. In that state, he want to run away. And that was the first starting day, the beginning. And he hears all the trumpets, all the kahalam, the sound which were made by every Maharathas. And that actually made him to sweat. Gandhivam was falling and his body was sweating and cheeks were reddish. It's like somebody who did not study well entering into an exam hall. But Arjuna was not like that. He studied everything perfectly. He understood the whole thing. And he knew what to do. But he had a bondage with his relatives and he was trying to escape. That's what is explained in the first chapter. But then listening to that, Krishna felt that this man is not showing the courage of a soldier. It is shame for somebody who is not doing their own duty. Therefore, Sanjaya explains in the second chapter. Second chapter is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Sankhya Yoga. Second chapter, if you study Bhagavad Gita, is over. And subsequent chapters, you will see most of the time, the second chapter is referred. So generally, the way I teach is, take a second chapter and finish, go to 18th chapter and finish. And then, you know the abstract is finished in a thesis, you know the objective and scope is finished, then you know the conclusion, then the methodology is understood. And that's how it should be understood. So, the Sankhya Yogam, the first, probably for the question what Dhritarashtra asked in the first chapter, first question. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveda, Yutsavaha, Mamaka, Pandavascheva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. The answer comes in the second chapter, first sloka. What does it say? Tam tatha kripaya vishtam asrupurna kulekshanam. What happened in the first chapter is summed up with one sloka by Sanjaya. He was totally sad. He was sitting and he was really showing all his grief. And then what happened? What is going to happen in second chapter? Uvacha Madhusudana. Madhusudana started giving what happened to him. Vishidandamidam vakyam. To pull him up from that state of sadness, Uvacha Madhusudana. Madhusudana started giving lecture. So that is where the introduction to Bhagavad Gita by Sanjaya. And then what did Sanjaya was expecting that Lord Krishna is, Bhagavan Krishna is going to pull him up with a lot of soothing words. But what heard was unimaginable. The next few slokas are really scolding Arjuna. That is where Bhagavan is not becoming Bhagavan. Bhagavan has become the closest friend of Arjuna. Any close friend who cannot give advice, who cannot be a master, who cannot be a mentor, will start scolding like any other relative around us. So Arjuna's closest friend relative is what is seen in the chapter 2, maybe second and third, 2 slokas. That's good enough. Kudastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastidam anarajyashta sargyam. You cannot be like this. Akirtikaram Arjuna. This is shameful for you. It's never expected from a fighter like you. Klaibyam masmagam apartha. What you should do? It's shameful for you. The last is Tyaktotishta parandava. Get up and fight. That's it. Bhagavad Gita is over. That's what Krishna gave a message. You start fighting. So you look at Bhagavad Gita, you can finish it in one sloka, which you look at it, yeah, this is over. This is actually the method of making a book so interesting. The beginning itself, you tell the whole thing. And how could he do this? Did Arjuna stood up and then start fighting? No. The first was the sadness which he explained, or maybe Sanjay explained. All that introduction is given. But we want to hear this from Arjuna himself. So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Yeah, 7 slokas. The 7 slokas where Arjuna is telling, this is my state of affair. As you are saying, I cannot stand up and start fighting. I am depressed. This is the depression state. That is where you need a psychology counseling. So Arjuna don't want Krishna to speak like a friend. You be my mentor, yeah. Don't be my friend. Anybody will tell like this. No, that's not what I want. I want Krishna as my mentor. This is where Arjuna is identifying Krishna not as a common local fellow who is close to him, who can talk to him every day and night. No. Looking at Krishna in the so pathetic state, Arjuna understood there is some spark in Krishna which so far I have not seen, but now I am seeing it. Therefore, I want that Krishna to come up and then pull me up to his level. Sometimes it happens to all of us. Our manas feels, yeah, look inside and then pull my spirit of Atma outside. That spirituality within me out, so that I do not become somebody who is controlled by manas and buddhi, but I will be controlled by my Atma, the spirit and the spirituality. So what is it happening here? You realize there is a conflict in me, what I want to do and what I don't want to do. That means there is a conflict between my manas and buddhi. Therefore, what should I do? I want to pull up my Atma and practice my spirituality and get into a state of affair where my control is not with my manas and the buddhi, but it is given to my Atma. So I become a spiritual, awakened, a Atmiya Purusha. And that is what is here happening. And that awakening will happen only when you meet a master? No. Master is there around you. But you don't recognize this is my master whom I should consult. And that student should go and surrender to the master so that the master can give what the student wants. So it's always essential. It is the initiative of the student to go to the master and surrender. And the quest should come. The question should come. Sometimes you need a scolding for that. To realize, oh, this is for my time to wake up. Once the scolding is given, the student should wake up. And that happened immediately. That is why Bhagavad Gita we got. It's like the cow has milk in the breast. But unless the calf goes and then suck, the milk will not be coming out from the breast. That is why here in the Dhyana Sloka it says, Sarvo Panishato Gavo Dugdho Gopala Nantana. The Krishna could milk the cow and the Upanishad is the cow. And just because Arjuna started sucking the breast of the Upanishad like a cow, the small calf. And that is what shows here. And therefore, 7th sloka in 2nd chapter is most important and beautiful for me. I don't think everybody will do Bhagavad Gita in this style. But this is the style in which I love to look at Bhagavad Gita. So if you just look at this sloka, Karpanya doshopa hadasvabhava prichami tvam dharma sammudha jeta yat sreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. What is that I want? Karpanya dosham. Because of that effect in me which made me blind, there can be many. Specifically, my daya, the compassion, probably over attachment to the people. Hadasvabhava, which is killing me now. Prichamitvam dharma sammudha cheta. I became blind and then unable to find out what is dharma. Therefore, what is that Krishna you are supposed to do? Yat sreyam. What is good for me? You refer now the 18th chapter 78th sloka. what is Sreyam for you is what is being given in the Bhagavad Gita. We already said. Why? Because that is what Arjuna asked. What is that he asked? Yat Sreyam. What is that gives me that famous effect or that state in which I can become popular, that can show my power and vigor. Nishchitam. Confirm, firmly. Bruhitanme. Don't make me to think. You think and suggest me what I am supposed to do. Why Arjuna is asking Krishna to think and suggest? Because I am going to surrender to you, because I am the Shishya and you are my master. Shishyasteham shathimam tvam prapannam. I am surrendering to you. I am totally under you now. So you suggest what I am supposed to do. Therefore I will take your suggestion and will start going. But with this surrendering also, Krishna did not tell him what he is supposed to do. Only made him. Many people say teach Bhagavad Gita, learn Bhagavad Gita. Both are not required. You have to understand Bhagavad Gita. So what happens is here, the karpanya dosho pahadassubhava prichhamitvam dharma sammuta cheta yat sreyasya nishchitam bruhitanme shishyasteham shathimam tvam prapannam. Please, you tell me what I am supposed to do. That's what is being said. What a beautiful way a student is surrendering to the master. And master has no other way than taking that student. So, Bhagavad Gita is a great lesson for a student to know how you should surrender to a master. If anybody is reading Bhagavad Gita and don't know as a student how you should surrender to a master, and you never surrender to a master, there is no point in reading Bhagavad Gita, learning Bhagavad Gita. It says you did not understand Bhagavad Gita. So lessons are there, many lessons day to day which you can take as a message. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 slokas. I take only one sloka which is most important, which is in the center of that 7 slokas, which explains what is that state of affair which made Arjuna to surrender to Bhagavan Krishna. Now what Krishna is supposed to do? He understood. I am not supposed to scold my, now not a friend, not a brother, my student. So don't scold students. After that, when they surrender to you, you should not scold. Before surrendering, you can scold them to make them to surrender. So this shows sometimes you have to scold somebody to surrender to you, to show that you are powerful than you. Otherwise, they will deal you with like a friend. No. Sometimes they have to consider you little higher so that they will listen to you carefully. So what is done now? He understood, Krishna understood Arjuna is a student. And he also understood what was already explained in the first chapter and a few slokas which explained by Arjuna himself. He is very sad. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita doesn't start with chapter 1 sloka number 1. After understanding Arjuna, what Krishna gave is the starting of Bhagavad Gita. So if somebody asks me, where is Bhagavad Gita starting? 2nd chapter 11th sloka. So every sloka before that you can ignore. Because 2nd chapter 7th sloka give the base for Krishna to give Bhagavad Gita. Now the first chapter you can omit. Rest of the slokas you can omit. 2nd chapter 7th sloka is good enough. Jump to 2nd chapter 11th sloka. What does it say? Ashochya nanyashochastvam prajnavatamscha bhashase gadasuna gadasumscha nanushochanti panditaha. No panditas. Earlier it was scolding. Now he says intelligent fellows will not be sad. Nanushochanti. This is where the dukkham of Arjuna, what is shown is explained in the first word in the sloka where Bhagavad Gita is starting. Ashochya, don't be sad. That is what everybody wants. When somebody is sad, don't scold. As a mentor, what is that supposed? Don't worry that I am there with you. That's good enough. That's what Bhagavan says. Ashochya nanyashochastvam. Don't be sad. So what is the first word in Bhagavad Gita? Don't be sad. So what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? Don't be sad. What is the introduction for Bhagavad Gita? Don't be sad. Because that is where Bhagavad Gita starts. Second chapter, 11th sloka. Ashochya nanyashocastvam prajnavatam chabhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. No intelligent fellow will behave like this. That's the method to lift him up. Be intelligent, my boy. Now it is not friend, it is my boy. I am the master, Arjuna is the student. Krishna says, listen to me. You are my boy. Finished. That's the starting. And now where Bhagavad Gita ends, where earlier 18th chapter 78th sloka we said it is, who said? Sanjaya who said. Now Bhagavad Gita should not end with Sanjaya's message. It should end with Bhagavan Krishna's message. So where does it end? It doesn't end with the last sloka which Bhagavan gives us the normal textbook, but it ends with, because it started with Ashochya, it should also end with Ma Shucha. And that sloka is 18th chapter 66th sloka. What does it say? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva pabebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. So what is Bhagavad Gita says? Started with Ashochya, end with Ma Shucha. Don't be sad. So what is the message of Bhagavad Gita? Don't be sad. Because it started in the second chapter 11th sloka with the don't be sad. Ended in the 18th chapter 66th sloka with Ma Shucha. What should be done not to be sad? Sarva dharman parityajya. So it is not a dharmic lecture. You forget about your dharma. Because every individual has got a different dharma. What are the different dharmas? Individual dharma. The personal dharma. Forget about it. Kudumba dharma. They are all my relatives. I should take care of them. Forget about it. Now, you have got a Kshatriya dharma. That also you can forget. What is more important? Rashtra dharma is higher than Kshatriya dharma. Kshatriya dharma is higher than Kula dharma. Kula dharma is higher than Kudumba dharma. Kudumba dharma is higher than individual dharma. So what is good for most of the public who wanted to see that this country is ruled with the great rulers in the right way, for them you are fighting. So that dharma only you should think, the rest of the dharma you forget. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Who is that me? The spiritual me. Surrender to the inner yourself and get into a meditative state. Don't worry about your indriyas, what buddhi says, what manas says. Be the spiritual man. Ahantva sarva pabhebhyo. For a spiritual person, there is no papa at all. And that stage will give you moksha ishyam. You will get into the moksham and ma shucha. There, whatever you do will never question you. Your buddhi will not question you. Your manas will not question you. All the actions are done by the Atma. Therefore, be an Atmiya Purusha. That is what Bhagavad Gita is. So, Bhagavad Gita can be seen like this. What I do is look at from the outside, come into side, inside, and go to the 9th chapter and then finish. 18 chapters, you can filter it like this, filter it like this. You don't have to do the whole thing. Then assume somebody, that's how I did. I took all the best slokas from different chapters and finished once Bhagavad Gita. To the same audience, sloka by sloka, again I started finishing second chapter, went to 18th chapter, finished that. So in my YouTube, you can see chapter wise there is one session, one playlist, and there is another playlist tidbits of Bhagavad Gita. Major important lectures which makes you to become motivated, introduction and such things. Then there is another playlist in which all sloka by sloka, one by one is explained. So it is not that we have to study a book from one to one. No. There are different methods of looking at it. I remember my professor used to always go to the reference and then read first, then come back to the introduction, then get into the other chapters. So Bhagavad Gita is a great Gita Upanishad, the essence of Vedic knowledge. Most important Upanishads are essenced, abridged, made into a synopsis and then put there. Many commentaries of Bhagavad Gita by different people, commentators, Acharya, spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhavacharya. Maybe Chinmaya made it more popular, and then everybody took us to the transcendental state, and that is what they wanted. But what happened is, it was only teaching, it was only learning, it was never understood. Therefore, many masters will start teaching, learning. You have got different textbooks, different branches came, nothing will matter. If you did not reach into that transcendental way relating to the spiritual realm, you cannot expand yourself to that. The manual becomes only a reference manual, not a workbook for you. So the idea is to find out the purpose of life, creation of life, the material bodies and the mind, right and wrong actions, which are explained in everywhere, and then unfolding yourself to the different kleshas in life. We have got an Adhyatmika klesha. That's also explained. Sometime 6th chapter clearly explains. And Adi Bhaudika klesha is there. Materialistic activities also keep you. And Adi Devika klesha is there. That is also being explained. And you have got different way and real problems. The way you look at it. Optimistic way, pessimistic way, realistic way. If you want practically to look at Bhagavad Gita, you will see all of them explained in a different style there. Who should study this? Young? Yeah, you learn how to live. When you become old, yes, good time to die. You learn how to die. Either to live or to leave. Either to live or to leave. Bhagavad Gita will give you lessons. And you want to be ignorant, only get into wisdom, forget about the practical problem? Yes. You want to be with all the humility, you want to be in the compassion state, comfort state, enrichment. You want to counsel somebody? Yes, Bhagavad Gita gives you a strong counseling lessons. You want to make somebody strong, or you want to be strong? Yes. You want to warn yourself? You don't want to get exploited by your relationship with the people. You want peace. You want rest. You want assurance from somebody. You want salvation. You want guidance. You want to be the mastery of yourself. All that. I told you, from living to leaving. What else is required? So this is what Bhagavad Gita says. But people looked at it not in this level. They looked at it in the Adhyatmika level. Not in the Shruti Smriti level. They put it in the Nyaya. In the Nyaya level, it's all Vedanta. So that is what Adi Shankaracharya, Advaita schools, all that Ramanuja, Madhava, Vallabhacharya, all of them did that effort. And that is what is essentially, when you go into higher and higher, from the Prapanchika level to that spiritual level. Like, if you don't take that and then only read and understand, it is like you have a medicine at home and then only read the name of the medicine, it will not affect you. You have fever, you have paracetamol at home, you say paracetamol, paracetamol, paracetamol. It doesn't get into you. You will have to consume it. So Bhagavad Gita is not to be read, it is to be consumed. Right? So if you don't consume it, it doesn't give you the effect. So Bhagavad Gita should be like a speaker, Krishna himself talking to you. Don't read it and you become Arjuna. And after few reading, you become Krishna, and then you start giving lectures to Arjuna. And that way you can reach from the Arjuna level to Krishna level. And that supreme level of Godhood, that is what we all wanted to achieve. So who is God here? The unawakened me inside me is the God, and I make me to invite. I am inviting him to come out. Albert Einstein really says once, you cannot solve problems with the help of anybody. You will have to solve your own problems. And with the present consciousness, you cannot solve your problems because you are in a problem. So what is to be done? You want to get out of that consciousness which created problem for you. There is no problem for you. There is only problem outside you. But you take those problems as your problem because your consciousness is at low level. So what is to be done? Raise it up. And that raising is what Bhagavad Gita gives. That revolution is what is spiritual revolution. That awakening is what is spiritual awakening. That solution is what is the consciousness, change in consciousness, what Bhagavad Gita spells for you. So, dispelling your illusion. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is that illusion, that consciousness which gave you illusion in your state. And then as a student, what you are supposed to do? You have to find this, understand this, get the answer. 66th sloka, Bhagavan said Sarva Dharman Parityajya. But did Arjuna really got this essence and then gave an answer? Yes. Second chapter, 11th sloka. When he got this consciousness into the spiritual level, Arjuna answers in the 18th chapter, 73rd sloka. And what is that sloka? Nashto moha. My moha, all my delusion, illusion, everything is gone. 73rd sloka, I think. Yeah. Yes, 73rd sloka. Nashto moha smritir labdva. Everything is lost. Tat prasadatmaya. With your prasadam, with your blessings. E Krishna, with your blessings. E Achyuta. Tat prasadatmaya Achyuta. Nashto moha smritir labdha. Sthito asmi gada sandeha. Sthito asmi. So I stay now. Gada sandeha. My sandeham, my doubt, my conflict, my illusion. What to do is gone now. Karyashe vachanam tavaha. Now I am ready. My doubt is gone. All the reason is gone. So the assurance is given in the 18th chapter, 73rd sloka. So you can see a difference from the second chapter, 6th sloka, 7th sloka. What Arjuna was is totally transformed into 18th chapter, 73rd sloka. And this transformation, not when we go for a walk, no. Everyday activity which we have to do in our life can be removed by consuming this capsule of Bhagavad Gita in each one of us on everyday basis. This is what the essence of Bhagavad Gita. I guess I took 40 minutes. I thought I will finish in 30 minutes and expect another 30 minutes questions, but probably yes, fast few questions can be taken. This is what I wanted to tell. Lalitha, is it good enough? This is what you wanted?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
enough. Thank you.
Really, I'm very thankful. We all are thankful to you for giving the essence of Bhagavad Gita in a very crispy way, where we could understand in such a short span, we could understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. We want to carry forward these classes, where, as you said, you can start it the way you gave an approach, how to really get into Bhagavad Gita, how we can get the better things out of Bhagavad Gita, transformation, or self-transformation. And how from Arjuna level, how we can go to Krishna level. Then we will see what exactly we have to do in all spheres of life. That is a spiritual, Adibhautik, all this you have explained very well. And now I request any of the speakers, any of the participants here, they can raise any question.
You could unmute and then ask me questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Dr. Ananda Krishnan, who is a good friend of mine, who is my younger brother, and he does lot of activities around. Unmute. Anandu is my boy who lived in Hyderabad. Now he is a Dr. Ananda Krishnan, a great journalist of India who worked with Abdul Kalam.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. Anandu. And he runs lot of programs. Every day he has got something to post on the YouTube. Lot of live programs, interviews most of the stalwarts of Indian scientific community. But Anandu is my boy. Yeah, tell me, Anandu. Yeah, Parameshwarji, tell me. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Parameshwar ji has got a comment, an observation which I explained. That is, Dhritarashtra represents the person who is not aware of what is around, what is happening around. That's really true, Parameshwar ji. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. My pranams to everyone, and of course, Shashi and Dr. Shashi Kumar. Great memories of Hyderabad, and perhaps since this is a Bhagavad Gita class, I was just thinking, going back some 30 years back when I left engineering and came to Hyderabad, when I was thrown out of my house. Perhaps you played the role of Krishna, and I was the confused Arjuna then, and so much of learning. So thank you so much for this great platform. So quickly I want to ask you, in this current scenario where humanity is going through so much of crisis, every house is a small laboratory of different issues, whether you have COVID or no COVID, but last 1 year plus, we all have put through so much of different situations, right from stress to emotional issues to confusions to uncertainties to many things. What is that you can tell us from Bhagavad Gita? We can follow and try to reduce these pains because you can't wipe out. Can you just tell that will help all of us, because in whatever we do, I think the best thing is to heal humanity in whatever form. And perhaps Bhagavad Gita is definitely the right answer. But people like me who are very much ignorant about the essence of Bhagavad Gita, the way you know, perhaps it will help ignorant people like me.
See, Arjuna got few lessons in the second chapter itself. How to take care of himself, not to worry. But then, as all of us today have a situation where even if somebody gives advices, we cannot take it that easy. So, what do you do? If you don't know communication skill, there are a lot of communication skill programs happening. That will not teach you the essence of the subject. It will tell you how to do blah 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 blah. And somebody believes that blah 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 is pretending that you know the subject. That is what is being sold today. So similarly, as a student, Arjuna, you know what is he's asking first to Krishna. Tell me how a Sthidapratna will talk. Sthidapratnasya ka bhasha. How to pretend like a powerful. Sometimes that is what we do. We have got uniforms given for doctors, engineers, probably the military people and all are putting uniforms so that uniform will give them a power. Camouflaging is what is personality development. You are putting a mask of showing that you have all the courage. That is what happening here also. Like everybody could have asked how to do that. You behave yourself like you are a courageous person. So, Sthidapratnasya ka bhasha. And the answer given by Krishna is not that. Dukkheshu anidiknamana sukheshu vigataspruha vita raga bhaya krodha. All that sadness can be controlled if you spiritually become higher. There are different levels. One is physical, one is emotional, next is intellectual, then is social, then is spiritual. All that together only can give you the courage. Assume somebody is in depression. He needs to be physically fit. Otherwise you cannot, no, if you have severe headache, no message can be listened. You cannot read anything. So physically you have to be fit. Second one, there are lessons how to be physically fit. 15th chapter talks to you how to eat also. And another one, emotionally you must be controlled. Emotionally you don't control, your intellect doesn't work. So you need somebody to say that, no, pacify, say, sleep on my lap, I will tell you. Then give the stories so that the story will tell you a lesson. Deductive method of teaching. That is what is in the primary classes. And after some time, theory straight. Otherwise, story and then deduce the lessons. That method is emotional. Then intellectual. Then what is that we require? We need people around. I am 100% sure when I land up in Bangalore, I need some help. Immediately Anantakrishnan will come. If I land up in Jaipur, definitely Dr. Shujita will come. So your power is your societal power. I need something in Hyderabad, I can just call Dr. Advocate Sukumar, he will be here next moment, I am 100% sure. That is your social power which you need. Do we have that societal commitment where you do your job for the society so that society will reflect back to you? That is guaranteed in Bhagavad Gita. There is a time when Arjuna says, I want to run away because I don't know what to do. These are all my relatives. Krishna is asking a beautiful question. Don't you know that these are all your relatives yesterday evening? Only now you realized they are your relatives or what? That means we forget that before jumping into action, you forget the relationship. You should keep all the relationship. But relationship should not bind you from running away from the responsibility. You must do your job. That is what is today. See, otherwise, why doctors, why police people do their job? They can also sit at home saying that no, I have to protect my family. I don't want to spread the disease. Let me sit at home. Will that action will happen? So this gives you what lessons we have in Bhagavad Gita is totally applied in every moment in our life. But what gives you that courage, that ability to advise somebody, what gives you internally to look at yourself to get the real bliss, and that is what is spirituality. Beautiful question, another question. I think it needs lot of hours of explanation. We have to go through sloka by sloka. I was just to pick up, then I thought I will not do that now because 6:30 was the time given. What I did was socially were to relate. All of them have been marked by sloka. So one sloka which I take, I will refer to another one. So second chapter, 18th chapter, 13th chapter, 7th chapter, 9th chapter connected. Today's problem can be solved. There's a beautiful book where physical, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual, all of them mixed together, fivefold development. Not just spiritual, not but just bhakti. Ultimately, karma is important. Through bhakti, you can be dedicated so that I have full bhakti to somebody else, I will do anything for you. So create bhakti. And somebody doesn't like bhakti, logically only I will do, go to second chapter. Logically you analyze, decide whether to do it or not. Don't worry about your devotion. So this gives you different spectrum. At any level, any point of time, this can be practiced. Yeah. I think it's 6:30.
Question?
Yeah, it's 6:35 now.
Yeah, if anybody else has any question, valid question to ask to Dr. TPS, we'll have it. Otherwise, we'll just...
we will continue probably when Lalita plans, I don't know the schedule, based on the time available for both of us, we could plan and then continue this.
We'll plan the regular daily sessions or weekly twice sessions, whatever it is.
Maybe some schedule we will plan. All of you who joined it together today can send a message so that I know, yes, you want to continue, and you could tell me your time schedule, when is convenient for you, then accordingly we can take a maximum number of voting on that and then decide the timing also. Yes. That's also fine. Yeah,
we'll do that. Dr. TPS.
Could send a message. All of you have my number, 9447437948. Do that. If you miss it, go to Google and search Dr. TPS. DR for doctor, T for teachers, P for parents, S for students.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, then Dr. TPS Kumar, thank you for...
Thank you, Lalita, for taking this initiative and then pulling us together to meet us.
Yeah, we'll have many such more initiatives where, you can really enlighten all of us.
So,
we have a lot to learn and go to...
Lalita is from probably the spiritual capital of India, Tirupati. And she worked in Bangalore in government, and she has got a lot of different responsibilities in government, and she is a very good organizer. Tell her she will pull activities. That's how she does. So thank you, Lalita ji, for the great initiative.
Thanks a lot, and I thank all the participants also for sparing their valuable time and making this happen. I thank again everybody, and our special thanks to Dr. TPS sir, really giving his valuable inputs. చెప్పండి చెప్పండి. మీరు తెలుగులో కూడా మాట్లాడండి, సార్కి అర్థం అవుతుంది.
అందరికీ అర్థం అవుతుంది, ఎవరికి రాదు తెలుగు. తెలుగు ఇంటర్నేషనల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కదా.
మాట్లాడండి మాట్లాడండి.
తెలుగు ఇంటర్నేషనల్ లాంగ్వేజ్.